Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Not your usual Friday night podcasting night. As you can see, I'm riding solo tonight. The young Padawan himself, Oski, is out at an Iron Maiden concert. So rather than just do a whole podcast, which I would usually do. So, yeah, tonight we're doing a 30-minute Broadway. Where is that coming from? So yeah, 30-minute Broadway, ladies and gentlemen. Call-in show, guys. The number is 315-371-4367. I'll do the 30-minute Broadway for you guys tonight. Tomorrow we'll be going live with Turnbuckle Tabloids. Next episode, stat card over there as well. Got a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff that happened this week. Got a arrest that was made. Got a reunion that occurred. Tons of stuff that's on the table, so you guys can call in for that as well. But this is a show that we put out there for iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the works, all the kinks for you guys just to call in. This is your hour because we have so much, well, half hour, because we have so much content that we put out there on the table that yeah, we try to fill as much time as we can with stuff, but the 30 minutes, I mean, with 3 hours, we still can't fit all you guys in. So you guys who want to call in 30-minute Broadway this week, the topic at hand is where are the finishers? What happened to the finishers? This means, well, basically, wrestling has gone to a point where it's gone way beyond just getting to your climactic point to a match where it's finished, it's done, where you could say it's over, Johnny. It's gotten way past beyond that segment, beyond that point. Now there's so many false finishes. You can recognize a finisher here, but not quite sure if it's a signature there. You're not sure who is about to go over or what's the big spot, because there's so many times in which we are expecting the big finale. Remember when Hogan would drop the big boot? You know it was over. Remember when Macho Man would jump off the top rope and hit the elbow and it was over. These days, not so easy. It's not that cut and dry these days. These days, there's so many matches that extend longer than it should or longer than expected because of the false finish and using finishers as an expendable move, as a regular move. I've been watching wrestling for, wow, maybe 35 years. I just turned 43, maybe a little bit younger. Maybe I was like 8, 7, 6, maybe around that time. And I remember when these finishers would pop up, and that was the key to us knowing that match is over. Ted DiBiase, he's got the $1 Million Dream on. Dusty with the bionic elbow. We already knew what was going down. But these days, it's become to a point to where matches will continue. And I'm kind of of that old school ilk where I believe that it kind of waters down the product, and it also kind of waters down the match. I'm one of those guys that believe that you preserve the finishers, you protect it. If an RKO is hit, then the RKO should be protected. It's a rarity where we see finishers are being protected. We had many instances where Goldberg hit the spear, that's a match over. That's it. Now these days, even with Shawn Michaels' super kick, the super kick was very, very much protected for years. But now it's like everyone's super kicking. Everyone's doing a super kick. DDT, another one. DDT was one of the most prolific moves, dangerous moves in wrestling And once you knew that was coming, it was like match over. That's me trying to play some finishers in the back. Yeah, we knew from the jump what's what it was. DDT was the most dangerous thing we ever seen, and we would get excited to see it. We would pop. Now, especially with how matches are done in New Japan, in Progress, ICW in England, they're even here, it's carried over to NXT to where these matches aren't even being protected or even saved by the finisher anymore because the finisher has now become so watered down that we don't even know whether or not a match is going to come to an end. I mean, honestly. So, like I said, phone lines is open 315-371-4367. I, for one, am though I miss it. I kind of miss the outlook of what it would have been, what it was when it came to wrestling finishers. I miss it. I miss the whole aspect of once a finisher is hit and it's like it's over. The only time that I would say that a wrestling finish was not going to be the finale of a match was when there's a foot on the ropes or run in, or it took a long time for the person to cover to get over on said opponent. It's like when you see the pedigree get hit, you're automatically assuming, bam, done, over, finish. And to like these days, remember it was Triple H versus Booker T, and he hit the pedigree, and it was like, woof. It took a long time for him to get there, and you really was like, yes, Booker T's gonna win, and he didn't. He fucking didn't kick out. That was the only time I was like, really? Did we couldn't save that shit right there? Really? We couldn't do that? But these days now, everything has now become a next progression to the next level of the match, like a continuance of the next part of the match. I remember watching a shoot interview with Brian Kendrick. This was years ago. And he explained where he felt as though that there shouldn't be any finishers, because it's silly to believe that a match can continue or a match could finish off at a point to where there's one big move that finishes off everybody. He felt as though that there shouldn't be that. There should just be certain spots, certain instances in a match to where that's when you know it's done. You've gotten to the point, gotten to the highest point. Like I said, guys, call in on our Skype 315-371-4367 to join in the conversation. Your favorite finisher? Is the art of finishers in wrestling gone? Is there too much protection or no protection of finishers? What is the most prolific and best finisher of all time? What's the most stupidest finisher of all time? And that's a conversation for itself, honestly, because there's everybody. I see a lot of people who hate on the Canadian Destroyer. I gotta be honest. I love that fucking move. I just loved when I first saw it, when it was first executed, what it did, what it looked like. I loved it. I fell in love with it from day one. Is it silly to think that a person could actually project themselves over that way and have a person spike them, get spiked in the head like that? Sure, of course it's silly. But once again, that's what made it look really cool. I was a humongous fan of that. Other moves that I thought were silly, I could tell you, the leg drop. I thought it was fucking ridiculous. I thought the leg drop was so blasé. I thought it was just. I thought it didn't make any sense to me. Hogan's leg is the leg that his leg is more powerful than anybody else's leg. Never made any sense to me. For that, I would have just taken the big boot, because at least you knock somebody by kicking them in the face. That made more sense to me than anything else. But the leg drop, Nah, never made sense to me. You also got to think about the history of finishers as well. We've come from such a long line of finishers where you have in the early era, the golden age of wrestling, the bear hug was considered a finisher. A bear hug, or the leg lock was, hell. Even there was a time where the body slam, or what do you call it? A two-handed axe to the top of the head was a finisher. These days, it's more athletic. It's more big move, power moves. Remember when the running bulldog was a finisher, or the running power slam was a finisher? It's kind of like the power. Now the power slam is kind of evolved with Braun Strowman, but these days those moves are just typical fly by night moves that you'll see. I always put to the task that for me, when it comes to finishers, I want to see a move that captivates the crowd, looks as though it could cause real damage, and could be the epitome of what dangerous should be. I remember when the first time I saw the burning hammer, and I was like, shit, that looks like I'd fuck somebody up. That shit looked crazy. And when you look at the history of the burning hammer, it's rare that individuals use it. I always found that interesting that individuals respected not using it because it was a dangerous move, and a lot of opponents don't want to be a part of it because it looks as though that could be problematic. I also look at submission moves. I laugh at certain submission moves. It's like you see Ric Flair. Everybody knows Ric Flair is known for the figure four leg lock, right? And that's supposed to be his finisher, right? How many matches have you ever seen him really win with the fucking figure four? I mean, honestly, and that's his finisher, his most recognized move. These days, I think with as you can see with the highlights that's going on here, you get these wrestlers, these new age wrestlers, these up and coming wrestlers who've become more in tune with being athletic. You see Ricochet with his I believe it's 720. You see guys. You see Ember Moon with her flying, basically it's a flying stunner. The moves have been more concentrated to be the eye catcher, to be popping. Then you have those that, that pretty much taper off to the old school, the old way. Roman is still running with that spear. And, you could always go into arguments about who had the better spear, who had the most powerful looking spear. Was it Goldberg? Is it Roman? Is it Edge? Is it Rhino? That's the fun conversation to have with finishers. Remember the jackhammer when Goldberg would drop the jackhammer, and it was like shit. When you saw him put the jackhammer down on the giant Paul White, it was phenomenal. It was like shit. He picked that big motherfucker up. Shit. Those are moments. But then these days, you'll see that, and no, like it'll probably be just a continuance to a match. It'll probably be a next foray into the next 15 minutes of a match. Somebody's kicked out of it. I like what Dean Ambrose did. Dean Ambrose left WWE, and he made it a purpose to change up his finisher. It's like, I left that behind me, and I admire that. I admire that was a true testament to knowing where to continue your career. Leave that where it was. I'm also of that kind of opinion to where if your finisher gets kicked out of, or it's not getting over, like if someone is continuously getting, if somebody continues to kick out of the pedigree, we shouldn't use it anymore. That should be something special. That's something that you pull out later on. Or if you kept getting hit with the attitude adjustment, you keep kicking out of it. You should put that in your bag. It should be done with. It should be over. I'm one of those that I think that wrestlers need to reinvent themselves and bring out new finishers, new signatures, because you kind of get burnt out of seeing the same thing over and over again, and you got to put it to rest. And I know that many individuals invest their careers on their finisher, but after a while, you have to learn how to progress. Cody Rhodes was one of the kids early on who believed in that as well. That's why he also liked to change his gimmick. He was one of those guys that liked to change his gimmick often, because he believed that he was not only to continue to make money in the business, because hey, if you got 4 different styles of Cody Rhodes as a action figure, that's more money to you. That's why he had different outlooks. But he also is a wrestler who's able to roll with the times and change up his style. And that also goes with his moveset. His moveset ran with the same position. If you see him, Cody's not the same guy he was 10, 11 years ago in WWE or in developmental than he is now. So it's okay to make changes. And I think the same shit should happen to finishers. Finishers have the same kind of look. 315-371-4367. Famous finishers, favorite of all time. I'm one of those that I don't know if I could really say I have a favorite finisher. I like a lot. I'm very old school. Like I said, the DDT, when you first saw it, it was dangerous. I don't know how many times we've ever tried it on our friends or done it. Hell, I remember 2 of my friends getting into a serious fight, and it just so happened that one of them was able to pull off the DDT and crack the other one's head on the cement. It was fucking odd. But it was also kind of cool. It was like, holy shit, he actually pulled that shit off. Okay. I'm also the type that approves of seeing a different style of a finisher when you change up a finisher. Just like when I just mentioned with Ambrose, where he basically had the 2-arm DDT as Mick Foley would use. I'm more of I like to see a guy take it up to the next level. It's like when you see these guys doing moonsaults and stuff like that, when they're able to put a twist in it, because everybody remembers when Billy Kidman used to do it. Now you see these high flyers like a Mark Quinn or Ricochet, Matt Seidel. When you see these guys doing it, there's something extra to it. There's like a twinge to it. I like to see that progression as well. I like to see when guys are able to make that push. It's a push to make the gimmick and the finisher go over. Yeah, it's true. Like Bender Bridges, I remember the move. It went from holy shit when you was a kid, like that greetings from Asbury Park. Remember when you saw a big man like Bam Bam move like that? Pedro, what's up, everybody? When you seen a big man like, that's always impressive too. Like when you seen a big man like Bam Bam do something like that, like greetings from Asbury, or you see a big man like Kevin Owens do a senton from the top rope. You're always impressed by seeing the agility and the mobility of a guy. But then when you see him now, it almost kind of diminishes the purpose of why we're getting to said finisher. Now we see Owens now doing the stunner. I was asked that question the other day by someone who said, "What do you think about Kevin doing the stunner?" I think paying homage is actually cool. It's like when Jay Z pays homage to Biggie on his song. I think it's a good look. Um, I kind of wish that Owens would put another spin to it. There'll be some kind of another element to it. I also would like to see different wrestlers try out different things because there's certain finishers that shouldn't be with certain guys. Like I want to see Braun Strowman with a more powerful, more determined finisher. The power slam looks like a good signature. It kind of looks like a good wear down move, but I want to see Braun with something more that shatters, that shakes the ground as a finisher. That's like you could tell that once he was in your grip, but you're in his grips, it's over. It's a finish. You're donezo. I hate it. One of the you know what finisher I hate it. Guys, you can call in 315-371-4367. You know what finisher I hated? I hated the WMD, Big Show's finisher. I couldn't stand that. I said it's an illegal move. It's a punch with a closed fist. It's an illegal move. What's the point? Why are we allowing this? Even now to this day, I hate seeing the way it's executed. When even right now, when Lacey Evans is trying to pull it off, it's like that's illegal. It's a closed fist. The Canadian Destroyer is used by way too many people now. It's not even Canadian anymore. It's like the Universal Destroyer. It's the Worldwide Destroyer. When you have Adam Cole using it, and it's just like it looks like it lost its flavor. I like I said earlier, I found it captivating. I thought it was fun to see, but I'm also to one of those that I just is it, what do we consider as his signature? The Superman punch by Roman. It's like, oh really? Not a fan. I'm really another one. It's a close fist. Not a fan. But when you look at what's progressed overseas in other countries, you see you see stuff just such as in New Japan. When you watch matches, Okada and Omega, where Okada did Rainmaker, I think he probably did it 5 times in a match. I kid you not. I shit you not. I was in total awe and I was like, really? How is this allowed? Like, how can we continue this match? Isn't that supposed to be the finish, the piece? Because supposedly when Omega does his one winged angel, that's it. The match is supposed to be over. That's it. I don't see how. I guess sometimes I look at my watch, because if I see a finisher happen in New Japan and it's already 10 minutes in a match, I'm like, yeah, this is going about another 5, 10, 20 minutes more. You kind of water down the like right now watching that Kurt Angle do his ankle lock. This move, the Seth Rollins, the curb stomp, that should be finished. That's over with. I don't understand how is that, there's individuals that kick out of that shit. Brett Savage brings up Stone Cold. Do you think he's ready for? No, I don't see him ready to make a comeback in wrestling. I really don't. I think he's one of those that's enjoying retirement. He's doing a lot of stuff like that. He's really having a good time with it. I think he just fucked up his knees really, really bad during his career, such as his back also. But another move. Remember the first time you saw the stunner? The stunner was like perfect for him. That move was a perfect move for him. Remember when he first came into WWE, WWF, when he was using the $1 Million Dream, and it's like, no, that's not you. I remember when you would see the rock bottom. Although the people's elbow is kind of stupid, but the rock bottom is actually a move, a finish, and just like Booker T's booking was basically the same shit. It had purpose, and to me, once you saw these individuals kick out of them, it was like, really? I like the fact when somebody's going early to do a finish and they block it, or it inverts it to something else and you switch it and it changes up it changes up the tempo of the match. That I appreciate. I can get that. You see Mick with the mandible claw, which, by the way, I hope that's what becomes Bray Wyatt's new finisher. That fits him perfectly. Hell, the tombstone. That's a finish right there. Even if you go into a finish and you don't catch it all, I can understand that. You hear Jim Ross say, he didn't catch all of it? That I can get. I can take that. I'll tolerate that. But when you nail it and you're not by the ropes and you kick out of it, it kind of like, it was like when Triple H pedigree Ultimate Warrior and he just fucking got out of it that fast. Like, he just kicked out of it like nothing happened. He no-sold the shit. It's like, really? So what the fuck are we doing here? Wow. I although that was probably the prickdom of Ultimate Warrior. That was probably his prickdom, but that's actually a pretty good finisher too. Jeff Cobb's Tour of the Islands. That's actually a good one too. I'm a big fan of power, like finishers that look powerful. That looks like you're gonna. I mean, before CM Punk was doing GTS, when Kenta was doing it, looked so much better. It looked so cleaner. That when you saw the GTS, it was like, whoo, that looked like it'll fuck somebody up for real. Even like when I'm talking about submission holds, and you see the submission holds, like you see somebody get lifted up in the torture rack. It's funny because these days it's like, who the fuck is gonna pick me up to do some shit like that? But now you get lifted up in a rack. Somebody actually could pick you up and put you in the rack. It's like, oh shit, this shit could fucking hurt for real. Like, damn, you could fuck me up with this. No, Brett, I'm telling you, that man is definitely enjoying life, bro. He is not making no return to wrestling. I could almost bank on that shit. He ain't making no return to that shit. He did have a nice little swat away with Becky Lynch where they showed each other moves or whatever. But that man is making way too much money and way too much time to go back into the ring. Speaking of Becky Lynch, you go into the women's side. Hey Tiffany, what's going on, girl? Make sure you check out our interview, our conversation this past week. It'll be on the episode in the upcoming week or so. So check that one out. That was actually pretty fun to hear a ladies' side of wrestling. And like I said, speaking of ladies, women's wrestling, you get. People are very judgmental about women and their finishers because you never quite know what to think of it. Bailey's Bailey to belly slam years ago. I mean, this goes to date how old I am. That was in the 80s. That was Magnum TA's finisher back in NWA and AWA and WCW. The belly to belly suplex. And people go, that just looks like a regular slam, but you know, for women, it works. You know, that kind of stuff works for them. Because you don't really, I mean, unless you're Awesome Kong or Nyla Rose or some shit like that, you can't really pull off big power finishers. So you have to go with the acrobatics. You see Alexa Bliss's finisher, and Sasha has to go into a bank statement or something like that. A lot of women's finishers is very segregated to different ways of breaking down a woman's body. I think that I'm trying to think, like, who do I like for women's finishers? That's interesting. I would have to probably bring that back because you see them more with the breakdown. Like, you see Charlotte with the figure eight. You know, she just she puts the back breaker in it. I mean the back arch into it. I really that is kind of interesting. I would like to do. I'll probably tell Maddie we'll do a segment on that when we'll look down and do women's. Women. Oh, leaders when Lita would do the moonsault from the top. That was actually kind of really cool. When you saw a chick do that, I ain't gonna front. I used to pop heavy for that shit. It's like, oh, okay. I always thought that she was gonna fucking kill herself when she did it, but I was like, oh, that was kind of pretty cool. Other finishes that I kind of bother me off the women's topic. I was never a fan of Jeff Hardy's Swanton. Never a big fan of that. I don't know. Didn't look like it made an impact to me. Sometimes oftentimes I like he missed. I was more of a fan of Twist of Fate. That I enjoyed more. I was more of a fan of that. Then when you got guys who are massive, big dudes like Samoa Joe who could pull off a Kimura, and and then they took away his other finisher because of him hurting Tyson Kidd. That move was that was a colossal move. And that's the other thing too, that wrestling has also become very sissified too, because it's part of the business that's one way or another you're gonna get hurt. I just saw in the clips, you saw the lariat, the clothesline from hell. That's another one that looks like it'll fuck you. A regular clothesline is some shit, but a fucking clothesline from hell. Woof. You also want to look at finishers that don't look as though that it's easy to take. Hell, I don't even want to take a chest chop, but there's certain finishes that you don't want to take. The Styles Clash is probably one of the most prettiest looking finishers, and you fuck up. If you don't take it right, you tuck your chin in, you could hurt yourself really badly. Fuck up your sternum. It when you see shit like that shit, it could fuck you up really bad. I'm also akin to seeing guys who are inventive with their submission finishers. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of those guys that he knows how to break down an opponent, and you see how he can wear down an opponent, and you'll see how he could finish off somebody with a submission. I like that aspect of it. I'm also a fan of guys like Pete Dunne, the bruiserweight, because he also finds a way to brawl and also brings in his finisher that ties into how the match led up to that. And that's the other aspect that you have to look into wrestling too, where you have to get to a point to where work a body part until you get to where that finish could actually make significance. Work the body part. And I think that's also a craft that's gone. I don't get how you work a leg for most of the match and all of a sudden you hit a spine buster and that's why the match is over. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's like if Randy keeps elbowing somebody's head, banging him against the turnbuckle, he pulls up the RKO, boom, makes sense. That makes sense to me. I was talking about the Canadian Destroyer earlier. I said it's not even Canadian anymore. Now it's universal. It's a worldwide destroyer. Everybody's using it now. They're using it from the Sacramento Valley Destroyer now. Now it's the Bronx Destroyer. Everybody's using it. It's lost its luster. I think that move is just... As a matter of fact, that might be next week's cutting a promo. Next week's cutting a promo, like what fucking finishers should we put out to pasture? What needs to go? And that's one of them. But Adam Cole was calling it a Panama Sunrise. It's like, yikes, really? Another move that I've seen bastardized to death as well, and it fucking crazy because I remember when I first saw it, I was amazed by looking at it. And it's funny because it's one of those things to where, it's another one of those Canadian Destroyer kind of things. But I was amazed when I first saw it was the Spanish Fly. And no, not the Spanish Fly that fucking Sin Cara does. No, Not the one that the Luchas do, no. I'm talking about when I first saw Amazing Red do it. I was like, holy shit. That fucking, that was one of those that took me off my feet. I was like, whoa. You also got to take into consideration when it comes to finishers is when and how it's done. And I got to tell you something. I'm going to be honest. I got to tell you something, buddy. I'm not even mad at the fact when a finisher is done in the first 10 minutes of a match. If it's done correctly, if you squash somebody with it, I don't mind. I'm okay with it if it's done properly. If there's a reason to it. If just like recently when we saw Kevin Owens do it to Dolph Ziggler, I was okay with it. There was a purpose to it. I'm just trying to gravitate to whether or not these days the finisher is a dead issue. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence of whether or not we even need them anymore. Is there a purpose to a climactic end? Do we need to see said finish? Does it need to be done? When you see the crossroads, it's like, wow. It looks scary as shit. It looks dangerous. But if somebody kicks out of it, it's like, what's the purpose of it? So yeah, this is my filler this week, ladies and gentlemen, because my partner in crime, Mr. Olski himself, is not in the building. He is out there enjoying himself at an Iron Maiden concert. But nonetheless, we will be back tomorrow, Saturday, for Facebook live stream, YouTube, Twitch, and all. And that'll be our regular schedule planning. Most likely it'll be about like 12, 1 o'clock, depending, because apparently someone is going to the movies tomorrow to watch Lion King. And it's not me. Wink, wink, Olski. So yeah, that was my point of view. This is my 30-minute Broadway. You guys didn't call in. That's all right. That's all right. Some of you guys are gun shy. Phone lines were open. If you wanted to, you could have used it, but you didn't use it. So in any case, thank you guys for watching. I am going to go hang out, drink some more beers, and I don't know, and watch some more wrestling. Check you guys later.